we've been talking a lot about the college football playoff committee, but let's make ourselves the NFL playoff committee.
Let's do it.
And obviously, we just have to go with what we have right now as far as resumes per se. But let's figure out who our top 4 would be. Would you like to go to top 6 just to kind of round this out?
Yeah, we can do that. 4 make the playoffs, 6 of the 2 outside looking in.
Okay, so with that being the case, let's establish a rubric for ourselves.
Let's do it.
How about that? Okay, so like, do we want to make this kind of like college football playoff or like the best versions of what they say they are? Let's go with the resume that we have right now. Consider, I guess, wins, losses, the caliber of the strength of schedule, I guess, that we're looking at, and do it that way. How does that feel?
Yeah. So you want to go back and forth? Who's the one? Who's the one?
Yeah. Let's have the discussion. Who would you lean to as the number 1 team?
Well, I think this is going to be the one that we don't have to have much discussion about. San Francisco 49ers have been the best team in football. Played their best 3 games against the Cowboys, Eagles, Jags.
Quality victories.
Quality victories, strength of schedule, strength of record, all of that, albeit
style points.
They did it. I think that's the clear-cut number 1 in football right now.
I mean, I think you're spot on there. That feels like the team to beat in a way. And then they've also gotten all the love, right? You talk about I mean, we're not the Heisman committee here, but you talk about like those type of moments, and the Niners also have those. It just feels like the Niners are probably in pole position here, especially with the resume that they currently have. I mean, they have lost 3 games though. We are doing the thing where we're just looking at how they play, and maybe we're falling into what the college football committee did.
But it's been a lot of parity there. If I would say a different team. But every team has had their struggles, and I feel like they've had the highest high point, which is why I would put them at number 1.
Okay. All right. This is tough because now we're taking NFL sensibility and trying to fit it into a college football context because the Eagles still have fewer losses.
Yes.
And I mean, we don't have any undefeateds here, but yeah. And also we don't have like the benefit of like division champion if we were going to utilize that.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being the case, I think we feel comfortable with Niners at the top there. Then where do we want to go?
Because this is the tough part. Are we going to 2 now?
Yes, let's
go ahead and
be
a little bit of debate.
Should we say tentatively we'll go ahead and put the Niners at 1 and we'll circle back if anything feels a little bit different. Okay. Yeah. So Niners are our 1 seed in our college or our NFL football playoff committee rankings right now.
Gotcha. So if I had to go to 2 seed, and I know some people may disagree, some people may agree.
I'm interested. The way that you're setting this up, I think we might be in agreement.
I'm going the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm with you as well.
Okay. I think they've been the second best team in the league. Balanced, and honestly, all of their losses have been close. At the end, they had the one against the Steelers.
Real bad loss to the Steelers, though.
Yes.
Real bad loss to the Steelers.
It was early in the season, though, so maybe they're still finding their footing. AKA kind of I would say Alabama to Texas lost, but they lost by double digits in their home spot.
And also, like I say, real bad loss to Steelers. And look, the Steelers also have like a good record, which helps us out, even though we know that they're not a particularly actually good team.
Yeah.
They also had that loss to the Colts.
Yeah. Colts are a good team.
The Colts are good. I don't know if I feel comfortable saying.
I wouldn't say good as in like bad. Elite, but they're above the mid. They're like they're like the best. One of the best.
They might be the mid. That might be them. But no, I hear you. And look, the thing about it, where I completely agree with you, it just I'm trying to be careful and make sure that I consider everything is they've looked dominant in all of those games. Just like they didn't close. And so how much do we want to value like the idea of closing and finishing out your games? Because I do think that they're like the second best team in the league.
Yes.
And so like I would want to put them there. I'm just like, do we need to go that deep into it where we're like, yeah, but they didn't close the football games?
I mean, we could say that about a lot of teams. So I think as far as strength of schedule, teams they've beaten,
right.
Ravens fall in that too.
They got a good quarterback.
Yep. The other factors.
A good quarterback who's healthy.
Yep.
You know what's funny though, right? We talk about this. A lot of people have had a lot of consternation about like Lamar Jackson as, oh, he's running quarterback and how healthy is he going to be? Also, you look at the Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, he has concussion. Those are 2 of the healthy quarterbacks.
They've been under the radar this year as far as like they've gotten obviously a little bit of MVP talk, but they haven't been getting the narrative last year, them being unhealthy and, getting in injuries, and Lamar with the running and Tua with the consistency. They just been doing their thing, and no one's really been, I'm going to give them their props, but I have the Ravens slotted in at number 2.
Okay.
I'll let you go first for number 3.
This is tough because this is where we have to start having conversations about, like, those 2 feel like the ones that we feel comfortable about. This is where we have to start having conversations. And from the 940, they put the Niners first, Ravens second. They put Dolphins third, Eagles fourth, Chiefs fifth, Cowboys sixth. I'm not sure I agree with that, but I feel like those are kind of the teams that are around there.
Yeah, those are the teams.
Who's in the pot? Like, let's actually consider that, because I feel like we didn't. Who do we consider in this place? Obviously, records-wise, the Dolphins are also in this place. The Eagles clearly have a good record at 10-2. The Cowboys have a record.
Lions are 9-3.
Lions 9-3.
And see, they're one of the ones where obviously we'll get to it. I think their record, how they're actually playing football, isn't as impressive as their record shows. So I don't have them as a top 4 team.
Good loss against the Seahawks, a good loss against the Ravens. How do we feel about the loss against the Packers? Like, those are actually probably better losses than the Ravens have at this point.
But also the way that defense is playing and losing on Thanksgiving, how they did, like it was a little bit of an embarrassing one. Jared Goff, 4 turnovers,
and the point differential is nowhere near, right? The Ravens' point differential is like 137, and the Lions is a 41.
Yeah, they've got some clutch factor, and they've got some throwing it away factor. So Lions fall a little bit on that tier for me. So
at this point, does it feel like it'd be pushing the Eagles even further would be bad just because of like the record that we're looking at, or are you considering more of just like the quality of play?
So, and see, that's the funny thing. I was gonna put the Eagles at 3 just because of record, and that's the one where I don't feel great about it. I've watched their film, other than the Cowboys, that's been the team I've watched the most film of, and I'm just not too highly impressed. But I got to give it to them. They've won a bunch of ball games against some good teams. They've found ways to win. And so I have to slot them into the number 3 just because you got to respect it. It's still the National Football League, and they might not be playing the way I want them to play or the prettiest way, but they're getting W's on the win column, and I got to value that at some point, so I'm putting them at 3.
Fair enough. I did say the Lions had a good loss against the Ravens. They did get, mollywopped in that game, but I was just like considering the schedule, the strength of schedule. Yes, the Ravens defense is at its best since Ray Lewis stopped playing. It is a crazy good defense.
Roquan,
the offense
that
runs
boy
the
is
ball.
underrated.
It's such a good rate. In fact, are you trying to say 940 that we put the Ravens too low? Are they supposed to be the 1 seed? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, so I think that we're gonna go ahead and slot the Eagles at 3, right?
Yep.
Is what we're looking at.
And this Sunday, it'll prove everything. This Sunday will prove Eagles or Cowboys at 3. I think that's the debate, personally. I have the Cowboys right on that.
I almost want to circle back and do this at the end of the season. Because this is actually more fun than I anticipated, because now I'm in this place where I'm like, who do you put it for? And I lean towards the Cowboys.
Same.
The way the defense,
especially how they've been playing recent.
Quarterback.
You have to value that. Maybe has the best quarterback in the league right now, just how they're playing football. Like, you have to factor all that in. Obviously, the next couple games will answer this question when they play their hardest schedule. But we haven't gotten there yet.
But we have to pretend like it's right now. And
Yeah.
actually, if you want to do the right now, right, like the play has been really good. You have the 9-3 record. You've got the losses, which again, like, not terrible. Well, the Niners was a terrible loss. And then I guess the Cardinals, the Cardinals have been scrappy since, though, right?
Yes.
If you talk about like the ways in which college football teams will lose a game and then kind of hope that team plays well so it makes the loss look better. The Cardinals have kind of tried to do that for you. As where are the Cardinals now? Because they were 1-2 at that point, and they are now 3-10. So like, they actually haven't gone and gotten wins. The Cardinals haven't, but like, they've played better. So like, I don't know. The strength of schedule is the tough part for the Cowboys.
But see, then I don't even factor the Cardinals game that much, because if we're doing that, the Eagles lost to the Jets with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, that is true. And that was ugly.
So, and that's when we got in the 3. So now we see the committee's problem. We're like, well, we have them in the 3, so are we going to count their bad loss and also count another team's bad loss? It's just, what do you factor more? Bad losses, good wins, straight the schedule all together? And with all that culminating, I don't feel great about it, but Eagles at 3, and I would go Cowboys at 4.
Okay, so with that being the case, let's try and slot a 5 and a 6 at the very least here.
The teams circulating in my head are Chiefs.
The Chiefs are an interesting one because the defense has been very good.
Very good. Offense has been almost
it
hard to watch.
It hasn't been the quarterback's fault. It's just like everything around him, per se.
It's like hard because we expect so much from the Chiefs. And that play calling, and obviously their quarterback is the best player in the league. But when you watch them, it's like, what are they doing? A drop, a bad route. He looks frustrated back there. So it's reluctant. The Jags, they just lost Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, are we doing the Florida State thing where, look, man, if you're bringing C.J. Beathard to the party, we don't want you to come to the party.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the committee. Like,
we don't want you, but we still haven't put the Dolphins up here.
The Dolphins, the Lions, those are all teams in considerations. What team are you leaning towards? Maybe you can change my mind because I don't have a set 5. It's not a confident 5.
Yeah, and the tough part about it is like if we're going like the way they're playing of late as well, it makes it even more difficult. The Dolphins have kind of had this little up and down flow of this thing, but they've had a few games that I guess haven't been notable because they've been like not great teams. They beat the Raiders, they beat the Jets, they beat the Commanders, and they beat the Jets and the Commanders big.
Same as the Cowboys.
Right. And they also fit in that place where people are asking the question of, can they only beat bad teams? I think the Dolphins have like the explosive portions of this, especially if we're looking towards like play style.
And the defense can turn it on. I don't want to say it's a great defense, but they have their moments. They still got Jalen Ramsey,
especially when they got Jalen Ramsey back
like,
from injury. Yeah,
I wouldn't feel bad going Dolphins 5. Dolphins 5.
We are the committee at this point. We're like, defense, who cares?
Who cares? Good football.
I want to see them throw the football up and down. I want to see Tyreek Hill run really fast.
You know what? You convinced me. I'm going Dolphins 5. Dolphins 5.
Okay, I'm with you here. Dolphins 5. And
who
can we slide in here?
We got Chiefs, Lions, Bills. Is there anyone? I don't think there's really any other team in the NFC that would compete.
Yeah, no, that's the tough thing. Is like the AFC is like kind of a lot of teams that are
really good teams
that are pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean outside of the Ravens, and then the NFC is like we got these teams up the top, and everybody else. Good luck with that.
Lions are that one team that kind of still fits there, but I don't take them as a real playoff threat. So it's do I trust Jared Goff or Mahomes?
Jags.
Because I think when it comes to this is who's got the better quarterback play, who's going to make plays at the end of the game, who do I trust? Chiefs have been letting me down. CJ Beathard.
And the tough part about it is it's not because Patrick Mahomes has it. So it's not like necessarily, Patrick Mahomes will just rise to the occasion when you need him to. He's been rising.
He's been rising.
He has been risen at this point, right? Like there's just no one else is meeting him at the level.
And it's not 1 week sample size. It's been like all year we've seen like the pass catchers not been able to do stuff. Travis Kelce hasn't exactly been the dynamic playmaker we've come to know. He still had his moments, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't been like
they've had Rashee Rice is coming.
Really good. I really like him at SMU.
Jeff F on from the 214 says, "Hey, should we consider the Green Bay Packers?"
They've been hot, and I actually am a big fan of Jordan Love.
They're 6-6. We're really stretching this thing.
Now we're stretching. We're taking a 9-3 Lions team and be like, nah, the 6-6 team is better because they look really good in December.
And it's not like we're like, well, they're playing in a great conference or division, right?
Yeah.
Although let me look at the actual schedule one more time and see. Losses to the Falcons, the Lions, the Raiders, the Broncos, the Vikings, the Steelers.
You can't lose to the Raiders and be tough. Like you're in the top 6. Okay.
I think I'm just gonna default to the Chiefs.
I would agree
and hope that the defense can get back to because it started slipping a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know they're playing the Packers with a kind of resurgent, Jordan Love.
Yep.
So I'm gonna lean towards the idea that we go Chiefs. The defense is there, and hopefully the offense will pop.
So the teams outside looking in that are right on that cusp, I think the Lions are the first one that comes to mind. Lions, I don't think they're there yet, but they obviously still have a decent record, so we'll put them in there.
From the 2-4, that chemistry is getting together for the Packers, though. They were 3-6. Yeah, but look, man, we got to consider the entire
whole
resume,
season.
Though, don't we?
We can't just be like, what team looks good the last 2 weeks? Whole season. So I think the Bills, Broncos, and Lions are my teams looking in.
Okay.
That would be the next 3.
So what we have established is in our NFL playoff committee that we are doing here based off of the record, if it was as is right now. The Niners at 1, the Ravens at 2, the Eagles at 3, and the Cowboys at 4, which would mean we would get a semifinal of Niners Cowboys rather, Ravens Eagles.
Oh Lord, well we're not making it far in this committee, guys. Sorry, Cowboys fans, I love us.
Oh wow, you think okay?
If we play the Niners first round, yeah, it's GG's. I'm sorry, the Niners. I do not feel good about that right now. Ask me about it in January, February, but right now, nah. I don't feel good about that matchup. Do you? You think they'd have a chance? I don't even think it'd be close. I'm be honest.
I think that they could play the Niners better.
Better, yes.
Yeah, how much better ends up being the question.